This is a clip from the Cannon podcast. To hear the full episode and get access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.
And we need to talk about Kai Havertz because he has been one of the talking points after the game. Now, Alex, what is Kai Havertz at this point? Because a lot of fans, I think, are misunderstanding his game. I think I saw the stat that he had won the most duels in this game, 8, and likewise against Forest. But are fans judging him against more of a forwards numbers? Why is he not scoring goals? Is Kai Havertz misunderstood?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're essentially looking at him, and a lot of the lenses I see people viewing him through, I kind of disagree with. But to some degree, it's understandable. And I think a lot of people kind of get frustrated about, but you got to view him this way or that way. It's like, actually, we've got to learn how to collectively, as a kind of group of fans, but also as a wider football community, understand this player, because he's not a plug and play number 9 centre forward. When you sign Rasmus Højlund for Manchester United, you can see there's a development there, but you're judging him against a very specific set of skills that you understand. A number 9, you know what that should look like. You know, obviously there's variations on what that is, but you have a sort of an idea. You have a pair of glasses through which you can view it. With Kai Havertz, there's so much there that you could sort of have a sort of different variety of different ways of looking at it. Is he a number 9? Is he a number 8? Is he a sort of drifting wide player? Is he someone who's misprofiled? Is he lazy? Is he working hard enough? There's so many different conversations you could have about him. For me personally, which doesn't make it right, I think the variety is the point. I think Arteta has signed someone for the purpose of being unpredictable. We've heard him speak about it all summer, saying, I want unpredictability. I want us to not know. And I remember a clip of Arteta came out and he said something along the lines of like, well, I don't know, we'll see how he adapts, see what positions he's going to pick up. He's never going to tell you what position he is because he doesn't want you to know. That is the point. But that's a very hard thing for fans to get, to understand, because it's a very new concept, even to Arsenal and to, people in what you might call deep football discussions. It's still something we're trying to make sense of. So to the average fan, I completely understand being sort of bamboozled by Havertz and not making sense of it. I just think about it game by game, and I look at it and I go, right, in this game, we need someone who's a bit more, who's going to allow Martinelli inside, and we're going to see Havertz drifting out to the left, which he can do. In the next game, we need him, let's say the Community Shield's a good example, we need him as the target man and occupying the centre-backs. We'll use him there. In other games, we need him between the lines receiving because they've got a nice compact block. So it's gonna change. I think then all that means is that he's going to be very hard to decide when Kai Havertz has had a good game. And that is really, as I've said, basically since we signed him, I think he's going to be a hard person to make sense of, and it's going to be hard to see when he's had a good game, and that's going to cause a lot of problems in the Arsenal fan base. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there's just so much just to jump in, like with Kai Havertz, he's a rewatch player. He is somebody that when you go and you look into it, he's somebody that, you really need to have a close look off the ball. When you look at a player that's like a space invader like that, and he has in possession quality, but it's not his game, it's not what he dominates. A lot of times that our eyes go to the ball, and so you don't go to what Kai Havertz will do on the pitch. And the one thing that I kind of want to point out is really, again, that Martinelli chance at the beginning of the game. It actually encapsulates quite a bit about what Kai Havertz would be, and when you start to look at it as a future glimpse into the team in terms of what we might be looking for. So if you actually go back to that chance, we had this like 2-1-Y structure where, Kai Havertz is kind of that deeper point of the pivot. And then our two outlets in terms of Martinelli and Nketiah are up top. And so we see a cross go in, and Eddie is the first time ball that knocks it down to Kai Havertz. And he draws 3 or 4 players before releasing Martinelli wide. Why is that important? I'm talking about on the Cannon Pod in the future. Are we buying Kai Havertz for a future role? And that's something that I've always felt like we could be looking at in terms of his second striker roles and in terms of what does he work well with. Well, he could work well with, an Ivan Toney, an Osimhen, that type of striker that you go and you knock into the channels that he is facilitating, picking up the second loose balls. We've seen the duels. We've seen the dual numbers. He is a floater. If you can have him be kind of the secondary receiver, I like to call it, so not the first one, but he's the one in the knockdown. He's the one in the Kevin De Bruyne role at the tip of a diamond, and he's got his Haaland. He is somebody that can exploit space brilliantly, and he makes the right decision. He's efficient. Something, by the way, this team needs in the final third. I think we haven't been efficient in our final actions in general, and I think he offers a little bit of that. But if you're asking Kai Havertz to be the primary creator, to basically do the Martin Odegaard guard to give you a between the line breaking pass consistently, or to be the person that receives off a goal kick. Look, he can do some of those things, but he is not somebody that wants that responsibility. He needs the freedom, and I think we need to see his role with that kind of freedom lens.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of Kai Havertz this season, though, what do we classify as success? Because a lot of fans are judging him very harshly, I think. I think they're saying he's not scoring goals, so he can't be successful. So is it more of a goal output? Is it he has to match Xhaka's output? Or is it just what he's doing right now, which is little tactical fouls, winning his duels, helping Arsenal? He's doing a lot of good midfield things, but in terms of actually helping us going forwards, he's not made as much of an impact I think fans think he could have made. So Alex, what do you think is a success for Havertz this season?
I honestly don't think... I think we could win the league and people would still think Havertz was a flop.
I don't think so, man.
I think they will. I think they will because there's going to be a lot of people, and a lot of people will see his value. Let's be clear. There's a lot of those people, but I just think people think Kai Havertz is like a cam. Like on FIFA. That's what they think he is. Because they approach that and then they think, what should a cam do? They should be between the lines, playing the final ball before the winger puts it in the net.
Yep.
It's not what he is. It's not what he does. And we think of him as that, you get the Mesut Ozil comparisons, whatever. He's never going to do that. So there will always be people who don't appreciate what he does. I think... look, I think we should expect some output from Kai Havertz, considering the positions he plays in. We absolutely should. But that's never going to be his primary thing, in the same way that Granit Xhaka's primary thing was never going to be output last season. It's a benefit and a bonus. So I think it will only come from time. I think it will come from time and people slowly seeing more and more. If he plays for us for 3-4 years, I think most fans will eventually go, oh, right, okay. I don't think it will come this season and people will go, yeah, that's it. He's the guy, because it's just the way he is.
Yeah, I don't get why there are so many fans against him, though. Not against him, but they're almost waiting for him to flop. They were going, okay, look, I told you so. He can't be good. I don't know what he's done to Arsenal fans, or some Arsenal fans at least. He's not like he's scored goals against us. Has he ever scored against Arsenal? I don't know. There seems to be this he can't work out. It doesn't help him out.
Do you know what it is, though? I think a lot of it is because he doesn't fit the subjective preference of a lot of fans. Like, if you were going into the window, how many people thought a Kai Havertz was priority of the window? Very few people.
Yeah.
And so I think the fact that we've gone so, plan B, let's say, but people thought is the club's plan A, but people's plan B. And so I think that is kind of where the struggle is. And
George said about pundits, which I think is a really good point. A lot of them have kind of put their flag in the ground and they don't want to move now. And that's a lot of people with Havertz. They saw this, they got the David Ornstein notification or whatever over the summer. This isn't my idea of what the team should be doing, therefore I don't like it. And until I'm proven wrong, which means Kai Havertz... I'm right, basically. So unless Kai Havertz does 60 step-overs and sticks it in the top bins 20 times a season, I'm not wrong.
But that's the thing, though, because I think if we'd signed him straight from Bayer Leverkusen, the excitement would have been through the roof. Oh my God, it's Havertz. He's amazing on FIFA. He's got so much pace. Like, this guy's going to be amazing. And now it's like he doesn't work hard enough, which is crazy because I think he was the highest Arsenal player in terms of distance covered so far this season.
Yeah. It's nonsense. It's also a part of, I do want to put the other fan who's probably screaming in their mic listening to this. Listen, how can you ignore the sample of Chelsea in 3 years? Like, there is definitely a certain expectation about coming off the back of a very good season, off a good production and whatnot. And then, of course, off the back of the sample you've done. But the one thing I'll probably just retort to those same people is people in an environment can be very different. Okay, people and how they operate in terms of skills, fundamentals, they express themselves very differently, and a team makes a team, not an individual. And so I feel as though for you to judge the environment at Chelsea, or for you to judge the structure at Chelsea and apply it to Arsenal, which are very different teams, systems, and environments, I think is naive. And so we do have to give that the same credence that if you're going to say, listen, well, he hasn't shown me anything in 3 years. Well, at the same token, he hasn't been able to show you much because of the structure as well. So you do got to raise both of those points.
And just one final thing. There will also be people commenting, and I know it, saying, well, this isn't worth £65 million. This isn't worth £208,000 a week. Yeah. And actually, I agree. Right now, I agree. That's not what we're getting. I hope we will see more and more and more. And I think with Zinchenko and Jesus coming back into the team, we'll see another step.
Yeah, you got to trust Mikel. He's always found a way to prove us wrong sometimes, or prove the fans wrong. So hopefully one more time in him. But
thanks for checking out the Cannon Podcast. To get full episodes and access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.